Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. And today we're going to talk about whether or not a home garden will really save you money. So last year, my friend Heather Whitaker came on this show to talk about all things gardening. And she really talked about how she grew this passion because she wanted to grow her own food, whether it was organic. She started with a salsa garden, I remember her saying, and all of this. But she really wanted to feed her family really healthy foods, but it was really hard to buy all organic food at the grocery store because there wasn't a ton of room in the budget, which is so relatable. And I hear this from a lot of people that really great fresh food is just expensive. And Heather and her husband Carlos, again, they grow a ton of their own fruits and vegetables. They even have some chickens and they live in the suburbs, you guys. So they can do this. And that means you can do this. And they don't have this massive, farm. They live on about 1/4 of an acre and they do so much gardening off of that. So it's just encouragement that wherever you are, you can be doing this. So if you've had some curiosity about it and thinking, oh my gosh, would this even be possible for my family? And make sure to check out that video because she gives great advice. And in fact, I took some of her advice when we started gardening at our house. Yep. So last summer was the first time we really got into it. When I say we in this video, 80%, 90%, 95% of this is Winston. I'm the encourager and the admirer and the eater of the garden. But this was kind of like Winston's thing. He was like, no, I really want to do this. So I'm going to share a couple of the things that we grow in the garden that we love that actually has saved us a lot of money, which is very nice. And I'll even give you a few tips based on things that I have learned in the process. So first, let's talk about savings. Did we save money? The short answer is yes. It definitely saved us money on our grocery bill and saves us money as the weather gets better and we get deeper into summer, we get more and more of our vegetables and our herbs and everything. So when it comes to food that we typically would go to waste because we would use some of it, but then not all of it. And again, money just went to waste when I was buying stuff from the store. For example, in our garden, when we were growing tomatoes, this was really big. Tomatoes would always go bad in our house. I feel like we never used all of them when I bought them at the store, or we switched and we're like, oh, we're not doing that recipe. For some reason, it just was tomatoes were the thing that we used a lot. We wasted the most of, and it's the thing I changed my mind on a lot. So cost-wise, buying a week's worth of tomatoes is about the same price of buying a pack of seeds to grow them. So anywhere from $2 to $5. So when you hit about that second week of using your fresh tomatoes from your garden, you've already ROI'd. So we were very early in our process, you guys. So I went last night and picked some stuff from our garden. So this is going to be our Roman tomato, but we have 3 of these plants. So they're just starting to come. Again, not ripe yet. But also our cherry tomatoes. I use this a lot. And this was the reddest one, the most ripe one I found. This little guy. But we have 3 other big plants of these, and these grow a ton, these plants. But I use these a lot. I use these on salads. I use this for Greek night. I use cherry tomatoes a lot when I cook. You can even do fresh sauce if you blend them up, put them in the oven, let them roast, all of it. So anyways, I love cherry tomatoes. They're one of my favorites. And it's nice because I would buy a little pack at the grocery store. Yeah. And they're $5-6. And these, they're everywhere. It's awesome. So there are some unexpected crowd favorites that we have. Jalapenos, which I love. They're not ready yet. I went last night, so give me another month and I'll have some jalapenos for you. Another one, Winston loves it, and the girls love to pick it, radishes. So we have a ton of these at the very front of our garden. And these are so easy to pick, and my girls think it's awesome. But I will slice these up again, put on salads, but we love radishes. Also, we did carrots, which is great. Winston wants to do some beets. My brother's doing beets in his garden, so they're awesome. So again, it's kind of almost like the ones that you're okay, the root vegetables, to jalapenos, to bell peppers, all of that we have in our garden and we use a lot of. So having, again, access to more veggies in our backyard really makes us use them. So another thing is squash and zucchini. So here's a little zucchini. It'll get bigger. But I sometimes stop buying these because I was like, oh, am I going to use them? But they're in the garden, so I will cook with them now. Or squash. Don't laugh at my squash. It's not ready yet. But this little guy, yeah. But we have about 4 big squash plants. Now, ones that didn't work were our cucumbers. We did those last year, you guys, and they ended up being whack. They had like spikes on them. It was really weird. I don't know. So I'm still buying English cucumbers from the store, but I love cucumbers, and for some reason it didn't work. Another helpful thing that we grew that we used a lot was romaine lettuce. So I use these a lot, whether it's for burgers or taco salads or put on top of stuff. We use romaine all the time. Caesar salads. And again, I would buy, romaine hearts at the grocery store. Sometimes use them. Sometimes, again, you change your mind on what you're going to cook and they go bad. They go brown in like 3 or 4 days. So I had to throw them away. It was so frustrating. But the lettuce was so great. And I'm so sad it's out of season now. It's done. We did butter lettuce as well. It was awesome. But now they're gone. So rest in peace, old lettuce. But it was good. So again, at the store, the seeds to grow romaine cost about the same as it would a bag or 2 of lettuce. So growing these greens in your garden will not only minimize waste and fridge space, but it also in the long run will save you a few bucks every time you go to the store. All right, the fourth thing that has saved us a lot of money, and this is a lot, you guys, is the herbs, okay? Are you ready for this? So we have parsley, we have oregano, we have rosemary, we have basil, we have, it's so sad, our little cilantro, but there was more. I don't know where it went. I did dill too. I love dill. And then I asked Amelia to pick me some mint. So she brought me one little leaf. So this was from last night. But mint, so again, so many herbs, and I do love fresh herbs when I'm cooking. And there was a time, you guys, I would buy the little plastic thing that would have like 8 basil leaves in it, and it's like $4 or like whatever the thing is. It was always so frustrating because, again, you don't have to always use the whole pack, but you wanted them fresh, all the stuff. So it just can cost so much money. And herb plants are so easy, you guys. They're so easy and they save you money. And let's be honest, you just feel better about yourself when you go to your garden and you pick out some herbs and you chop those up and you sprinkle them in and you say, there's fresh basil in that pasta. Fresh basil. It just does something to the wholesome of your heart, I'm telling you. So again, whether it's, buying herbs at the grocery store fresh, even buying seasoning, stuff can get just so expensive. So fresh herbs will save you money. And finally, my 5th favorite thing to grow in our garden has been our hibiscus. Okay, so this is a potted plant, but they have these all over like the Caribbean or Mexico, and they're just the most beautiful plants. And they're really tough because they don't last long. So they will like end up closing up, but then there's like so many other blooms. And so you have to take it in the winter. So we didn't plant it in the garden, but we have some plants around, and I just love hibiscus. I think they're just so beautiful. And then Winston, when he dug up all of our lettuce, there was like almost half of our box garden that was empty. So he went and did some flowers throughout it. All these kinds. Don't ask me, I'm not a flower expert, but I love it too because how great is it having fresh flowers in your house? Cut those things up, put them in vases like in your kitchen, in your bedroom. It's dreamy. And so you can start this again with seeds or just get some plants, from Home Depot and then plant them in and you get more. It's just so fun, you guys. The whole thing is so fun. So yes, there is an investment in the front end because especially if you want a raised garden, you got to buy, the supplies and stuff to do it. So yes, there's an investment, but you're going to use it for years and years and years and years and years. So it's been so fun. And again, there's some takeaways from gardening that I want to tell you about. So again, I was surprised how quickly we were able to get started because it can be very intimidating. When you start something new, you're like, oh my gosh, like people do that and I don't know if I can. But I will tell you, you have what it takes to do this if you want. It takes some patience. And depending on your gardening goals, it can be more of a marathon than a sprint. But Winston was able to do everything, even build the beds. I think he did it over a weekend. And then you spend a couple of afternoons, finding what you want to plant and all of it. And again, it really didn't take that much time. Now, you have to water it and take care of it for sure. But my point is, you can easily tackle this one in a weekend like he did. Also, keep in mind to start small, okay? If your budget is tight at the moment, you don't want to spend a ton of extra money throwing into a new hobby and creating, this like whole thing where you're like, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? So create a sinking fund, maybe put some money away for next year and be like, yeah, we want to start a garden. So again, there's a little bit of investment up front, but start small. Even just getting a basil plant in front of your kitchen window, right? Just incorporating something small like that into your routine can help you when it comes to something bigger. Okay, speaking of, another thing I've been reminded of throughout this process is how important it is to try new things. Again, it's easy to look at other people's skills or hobbies and think, well, I'm just not cut out for that, or I wouldn't be successful to do that. Listen, that's not true. Even growing our own food, it's been really practical, it's been budget friendly, and it's been really fun and rewarding. So don't get me wrong, some things have been easier to get the hang of than others in life, right? So cilantro, tough one. And I'll be honest, the green onions, I didn't even show you all these, my scallions, they actually ended up okay. I mean, they're little guys, not terrible, but at first I was like, what is happening to y'all? So this took some love, but it happened. So thank you. Thank you, scallions. Thank you. So I've learned a lot. Winston has, again, been the hero of this story, but it's been a really fun thing for our family. All right. My last piece of advice would be to pace yourself, okay? After a quick win or two, you might be tempted just to go and buy seeds to everything and grow everything. But remember, you're still human, and there may be a night you're like, I just want to order pizza. So do that, okay? So don't plant more than you and your family realistically can eat. That was us last year. We planted way too much stuff. So be realistic about it. And again, if you go a little overboard, it's fine. But you'll learn and figure out, okay, what is best for our family. And it's so fun. It's great. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And again, if you haven't seen my video with Heather, because she's a major expert on this, I will put a link in the description below. And gardening, again, it's a fun new thing that our family's doing, and it's able to save you a good, $20, $30 at the store, which is awesome. And I think it's the gift that just keeps on giving. So send this video to a friend or a spouse or a neighbor who might be interested in tackling this with you. And remember, you guys, to take control of your money and create a life you love.